Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Family Podcast. My name is Sammy.
My name is Don.
And today we're talking about toxic masculinity. Oh no! Run the intro. Okay, so when this is a term that has grown over time,
I know.
that social media has had a lot of fun with. But when you think about it, toxic masculinity, I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Nothing.
Mad. I said nothing.
I just think, I don't rate the term, innit? I don't rate the term. I know what it's supposed to mean.
Okay, tell me first what it's supposed to mean.
I feel like it's supposed to mean traits that males have that are toxic. So,
Yes. Do you have examples of that though?
Oh, yeah. So, being overly aggressive. Wanting to, I don't know, manage finance. So like thinking that finance is the answer to everything. That would be considered like a toxic masculine trait. Or wanting to be the head of the household, so to speak.
Yeah, but do you think those are toxic traits? Do you think people would say that those are toxic traits?
In extremes.
Because I when I hear it, I think of like guys being rapey guys.
Yeah, that's toxic
Guys
as
that
well,
can't
but
keep
you
their
wouldn't
hands
really
to them damn selves.
I don't know.
Octopus
innit?
guys. Feely men.
I mean, yeah. I think all those things count. I do. But yeah, I don't know. I don't rate it, and I don't rate it because of this. Like exactly what we're talking about. It can be misconstrued as so many different things. It's kind of like the red flag thing. I don't like the red flag thing either.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because I'm just like, I know we've used it in some of our podcasts, but I'm just like, okay, cool. So, what, talking is a red flag? Bad breath is a red flag?
Bad breath is a damn red flag.
And it is, yeah.
Wash your mouth.
But, bro, like, bad breath is just bad breath. You know what I'm saying? There's always been bad breath. You know, my mom wasn't around saying that, that's a red flag because you got bad breath. No, you got bad breath. It's terrible.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You know, so I just feel like these terms, they're widely seen as a collective, and although as a group we understand the terminology behind it, and I think because of the reach of social media is extended far beyond the UK, for example, even though some of the lingo is like American and some of it is UK.
Yes.
So it creates that like consensus to some degree.
Yeah.
But I still don't rate it. Cause I just think to myself, like, okay, so like, what are we even talking about? Like, explain yourself. So it's not that I don't think it exists. I think that people have, traits that can be considered as toxic. But when people talk about toxic masculinity, like, is that just for men?
Yeah, the name kind of gives it away though, innit?
No, but females can have masculine traits. So are we saying that females don't have masculine traits that are toxic? Ever?
No, but I suppose the equivalent would be toxic femininity.
But then that don't make sense. But so males can't have toxic feminine traits.
Let me ask you a more pressing question, yeah? Do you think that there are ideas that are put into men's heads that are not helpful?
Yes.
Okay, can we explore some of them?
No, definitely.
Cool. What's one of them that you think?
That men are always right.
Okay. I'm always right, but no, I won't take away from the situation like that. Let me not do that.
So I think where we suggest that because the male is the head of the house, so to speak, and especially in religious terms, in terms of Christianity, because
that's Islam.
Yeah,
the same in Islam. Yeah.
Well, they follow the Old Testament, isn't it? So, you know,
The Quran.
yeah. So
I can't get into that debate
okay,
because
yeah,
I'm not a Muslim.
Okay, yeah. So, I feel like that conversation doesn't negate the input of women, and I think to act like it does is to say that you want to be alone. So just be alone. Yeah. If you think that you're always right and you think that your way is better than somebody else's way all the time, and you're not open for compromise, it sounds like you love yourself. And I ain't got nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with self-love. Yeah, but love yourself and do that by yourself.
Yeah, but I also think that sometimes it stems from like childhood issues. So kids who have been abandoned when they were really young, excuse me. Oh, woo! Yeah. That have been abandoned when they were really young, they develop an over independence. Yeah. So say for example they manage to take themselves from like a really abusive situation. Maybe it's not like your mum hitting you or anything, but say your mum took a load of gear and she was not present for most of your life growing up.
Yeah.
And you were able to, despite that, you were able to make something of yourself. You're gonna value your decisions making skills way more because your decisions have led to your betterment.
Definitely.
But then you bring that into a relationship where your partner is trying to assist you.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got this. I got it. Don't tell me nothing. I got it. But obviously that's not helpful for a partner because they're a partner. They want to feed into your cup and they want you to feed into theirs as well. Yeah. And if you like, and you're right in a sense, because when that happens, especially with men, it's like, this is not open for discussion. What I say goes. Can't you see what I've done for my life?
Yeah.
Let me do it for you. And then the wires get crossed.
And again, as I said, that's what I'm not really a fan of. So I think that when these things happen, it's about self-reflection. So I've had to reflect on myself a lot because my profession requires me to. And also, I just think generally, when you're not getting a great outcome, you should probably do some reflection. And you should try your best to think in a different way to what you're used to thinking. So if what you're used to thinking is I'm always right, try to justify a little bit why somebody else might be right and what would be the benefit of that, you know. And even sometimes it may be as simple as that person feels empowered and I can deal with not feeling empowered for once, you know. I'm able to handle that rather than because that will help you to understand that some people may be at breaking point because they've always had to do that. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I tend to be a reasonable guy. I think.
Yeah. Can I just add as well?
Yeah, go ahead.
That sometimes giving the reins to your partner helps with their confidence. Yeah. So sometimes they've been in a situation where they've never actually had the time to shine. They've never had, I don't want to say responsibilities, but they've never had a moment where they've suggested something, people have listened to them, and then good things have come out of that.
Yeah.
And so to be a partner who brings that out of them, it brings a new dynamic to your relationship because you are together, you're growing, and you've got your accolades, they've got their accolades, and together you kind of boss up. That's cool. No one wants to be in a relationship where it feels like their partner is always hitting new heights, and they are stuck.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because that breeds resentment. So don't do that. If you're doing that, because a lot of the time as men, let's bring it back to the conversation. As men, yeah, you can say, yeah, you know, these are my boys. I know them from day one. Yeah, gang signs. And then...
Hey, don't do that again. Never do that. That was wild.
But they've been my people from day.
Yeah.
When I eat, they eat. When I come up, they come up. then they go home and they don't do the same thing to their girlfriends, wives, fiancés, all of that. How? She the one who's gonna push out your big head kids.
Wow.
Yeah, so give her the shine as well. You know?
And I think also, you know, we feel, and this is something that I've noticed over time, yeah. We feel that everybody has gone through the journey that we've gone through, innit? So, and some people put on a facade, and we feel that a lot of people put on a facade. But some people are extremely, like, extremely wrong. They've never had what you've had. So let's say it might be in the area of self-love, or it might be in the area of being assertive, especially for males. Yeah, I feel like we have to be assertive often, yeah, in terms of a lot of things. So if you grew up in a single parent family, you've had to be assertive because as the male, that people will always tell you once your father's left that you're the man of the house. Yeah, so that's one of the examples. And so you have to be assertive in saying, actually, I'm going to spend some time with my mum because she may not have that male role model that she can disclose to. Yeah. Now, that may have its own issues, but you may decide to do that. And then you may have to be assertive and decide, actually, I'm the one who's going to have to bring her home some additional money because mum's not making ends meet at this moment in time, and I have to step up as the man of the house. Yeah. And then if you've got siblings as well, it's about how you set that standard for them and become a role model. If you have both parents within the home, you've got to decide who you take from, your mum or your dad, because the world will tell you that you should automatically take from your dad to be more masculine. But actually, you may have that trait already in you being a man, so it might make sense to take some things from your mum as well. Yeah,
to be more well-rounded.
Well-rounded, exactly.
Like the cooking thing.
Yeah, there we go. Like cooking and cleaning or being domesticated. Now, all of those things are great, but maybe you get with somebody else who's never had to make those decisions, and so they're not on the same level that you're at when you meet them. And I think it's important to understand that, because some people do put on a facade, you know. The amount of females that I know who are like, well, I love to be independent, I want to be independent. But then if you actually sit down and speak to them, what they mean by independence is not the traditional term of independence, because they still want to be loved. They still want, you know, compassion. They still want someone to ask them how their day was. They still want, you know, somebody to do stuff for them in a certain way.
Bro, listen, the independent woman thing is no, okay, I'm not even going to be PC about it. Yeah, it's not calm, yeah. It's not calm. Because you can be an assertive woman. You can be a woman who goes out to work and be domineering, but that doesn't mean you don't want to hug at the end of the day.
There we go.
It doesn't mean that you don't want to cuddle up with someone at the end of the day. You know, and just watch Netflix, no chilling, just watch it, and enjoy the presence of having somebody who is solid and sturdy by your side. So this whole, I don't want to dip into the red pill all the time, but there are some things that are just true. There are some things that are true, and sometimes if you've never had that, if you've been an independent, it goes back to the childhood thing as well. If you've been independent all your life, and sometimes, like, let's be real, some men are waste men. So facts. If you have it in your life history that you're independent, the last time you trusted a man, he had a kid and pissed off, you're gonna lean into your independence so much more than somebody who's had that care and attention and lots of collaboration in their life.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You know, and so, but this is what we were saying before in the last episode about recognizing, taking time to recognize what you are in the context of a relationship. When your relationship, if your relationship has failed, taking time to understand who you are and saying like, I actually do have an issue with control, you know, or I do have an issue with trusting people. So independent, like, I don't even like the term, Determined is not what I like, but women going out there getting their bag, I respect it.
100.
Women going out there and being self-sufficient, I respect it. I got a daughter. I don't want my daughter to be somebody's slave. There's no way. I'm gonna raise her to be, for all intents and purposes, an independent woman. But she's gonna look at how me and Rox live our lives.
And then base.
And then base that around. To understand that, yes, a man being present and solid, someone you can rely on, is a good thing. It's just, unfortunately, for women and for men, it can be difficult to find that person.
Definitely.
But take time with it, understand what you want from a relationship. If you don't know what you want from a relationship, just start labeling all the things that you don't want. And work from there, because most people don't know what they want.
And see, this is the thing. So I've heard a lot of people talk about like people like Cardi and Offset. Do you know what I'm saying? When they talk about like toxicity, and I tend to think to myself, but they're cool with it. Every time someone bashes Offset for something that he's done, give it a couple months, and Cardi and Offset are back together living their best life. And you there looking like some dickhead. You know what I'm saying?
Being a bridesmaid again.
Hey, that one was solid, fam. I know that hit a lot of people. I
don't say it to bring no shame. I'm just saying, a lot of people comment on people's relationships.
There we go.
But they're not really in a position to comment.
And I think that's the thing for me. It's like, okay, but what works for a person? Now, I'm not saying that certain relationships are the best relationships in the world. But let's face it, who are we all to cast judgment? Like, at our worst of times, in our worst relationships, do we think that we was the best people? When we was younger and we was getting into relationships at 16 and we were doing certain things, do we think that we was the best us? Of course not. So people could have termed us as toxic at one stage. And so I just think, just leave it out. Like, all this toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. If you don't want to be with that person, just don't be with them. You know what you like.
But I think a lot of the issue is that it's a group thing. So me and you, we've been talking like as individuals, and like individuals within the context of their relationship. But for some people, this is a systemic issue that has been ingrained by ideas of what the patriarchy is.
So talk to me. Give me some examples. Tell me about some stories. Let's go.
Okay, so one of the biggest ones in relation to women, is that men seem to feel like they have autonomy over a woman's body. That men have feel like they have this inherent right to tell women what to do with their bodies. Even if it's like as a joke thing, even if it's on the sly, like for example, don't do doggy with a arch back, you gotta do it with the curve back. You know, who are you to tell that woman? You know what I'm saying?
But that's exactly why I'm like, but what do you want? Because some people do like that, to be told what to do. Do you see what I'm saying?
But remember, that's an example. That's an example.
Group, and I've also got to think about it as a. See, I think this is where I have a problem, because I tend not to think about things in a group setting. I tend to think about things in an individual setting. So I suppose if we throw in the Kantian ethics, you get me, the universal law, if every man was doing that to a female, then that's wrong.
But see, I feel like some women really believe that. That all men are doing this to all women.
Okay,
And so then that gives them an anxiety around men and feels like men are always encroaching.
That's why I don't like the online sphere.
So like you have people who, for example, I'll give you an example. An Instagram model, who's got her picture up. She got her cheeks in a string, and then you got men commenting. And then the comments vary, but a lot of them are like very sexual in nature, and a lot of them are like condescending. Like, even though they might follow this woman, they're like, oh, why don't you put some clothes on and have some dignity? And some women feel like who are you to tell me what to do with my body? Mm-hmm. Go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think this is a thing. Yeah. Especially the whole men feeling entitled to women's bodies. I spent money on you on a date, and you're not gonna invite man up for wink wink coffee. Yeah. And they feel violated like that. Mm-hmm. Or like when guys are pursuing a woman and then they find out that she's lesbian, mm-hmm. and they're like, oh, what a waste.
Yeah.
As if because she's not offering herself up to men.
Yeah, then it's an issue. And so I do think there are valid instances,
yeah. But I think a lot of it kind of comes with education, firstly, and I also feel like there's a conversation that needs to be had, yeah, and not in this annoying wag my finger, mm-hmm. and definitely not, because this is how the conversation actually tends to happen,
yeah.
Men are trash.
See,
welcome to my TED talk. Yeah, and that's how it feels for a lot of guys. Like, there's a content creator called Shoe on Head. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And she basically did a video, mm-hmm. that was talking about male loneliness, mm-hmm. and the impact of male loneliness and stuff like that. Yeah. And how it's having an effect on, men. And the Twitter response, mm-hmm. was, cry more. We don't care.
Mad.
Yeah. A lot of women came out like, we don't care. Oh, what? So just because you don't have a God-given right to a woman's body, we're supposed to feel sorry for you. This, that, and the other. And so, mm-hmm. it comes across extremely uncaring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you look at the landscape and it looks like a gender divide, mm-hmm. and you're backing your team as the men,
yeah.
and you're wondering why young men are flying over there to Andrew Tate, he's essentially telling men to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're crying and like, why don't men understand how to respect women? Because you don't respect men.
Bro, do you know what's mad, yeah? I was literally about to say this.
Your posture got so A1.
I can't lie, I was literally about to say this, yeah? And I don't want to make it a tit for tat argument.
Yeah.
But literally, we are all doing the same thing. I've seen it. Do you know what I'm saying? I've seen it on posts. Oh yeah, all men are this, all females just want men who got money, And I'm just like, oh bro, I'm kind of tired of this.
Yeah, give it a rest.
Yeah, this whole debate. That if we don't learn to support each other and see the usefulness in each other, then it's never gonna work. But do you know what this is? I realized that, number one, social media is just a snapshot of what actually exists in the whole entire world. Yeah. First of all, it's not representative of nothing. You think because you follow 17.4k people and you see about 50 people's timelines, yeah, that you have the monopoly on what happens in general Earth on a day-to-day basis.
Or you are on Twitter and you exist within a Twitter echo chamber.
Yeah.
Because you can block anybody that dissents.
There we go.
Yeah. And so you live in your own world where people just reinforce your view over and over and over again until you walk and talk in a way where you're always right and always correct.
Yeah, it's not making much sense, innit? So
fools! The lot of you, yeah, man, you make me tired to be human being, man.
Hey.
You are a disgrace, a scourge upon this earth.
You meant a scourge.
And I hope that you use your Amazon vouchers to buy hundreds of books.
Mad.
So you can educate yourselves.
Say no more.
It's annoying.
So I'm not on all of that. I just think to myself that, like, online is one thing, because also one of the things that we didn't talk about is some people assert a persona online. We know what is clickbait.
Yeah.
We know how to rub people up the wrong way. We've
Definitely.
seen it. Just take a look at Andrew Tate. All of these people, I hate Andrew Tate. You know how many forums Andrew Tate has been on and paid for it?
Yeah.
Because you lot comment under his comments like, I hate this guy. Similarly with the girls in the G-strings. What you think they don't know? That men are like, oh, oh yeah, you come to my bedroom, darling, look at them cheeks, talking the wickedest and saying the maddest of things underneath their posts. They're getting all the likes and the comments and the interactions, and guess what? Instagram is rewarding them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? More people are adding, they're like, okay, cool. Let me do exactly the same thing again. Post the same picture. Let's see how many more reactions I can get. And so we're just perpetuating this cycle, you know, and we act like we don't know, but we know.
Yeah.
We know.
And also, I do want to say that I acknowledge that as a gender, men have some things to work through.
Oh, no, definitely.
However, I will say that some of those things, you have to be really careful what you tell men to switch off. Yeah. Because it's a bit like, you know, when you run a program and it says, shutting this down will affect your PC in unexpected ways.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Right, that is the analogy.
Yeah. That can happen. Yeah. So you tell your man, bro, I don't know. Right, you want a man to have a control over his emotions. Yeah. And so that's calm. We can have that. Yeah. However, if that person starts to grow apathetic to you, yeah, because they're trying to control their emotions more,
Yeah.
that's a consequence. So when you say something and you expect them to be extremely happy for you, and they're like, cool, proud of you. Yeah. And you don't get that energy, that's because you told him to turn off his emotions.
There we go.
He's being too emotional. So there are things that are tied to masculinity that if you start to untangle, we don't know. Like, I'm not saying that it's always going to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that it might have unintended consequences. By no means is this an excuse not for men to try and do better. You know, stop using drugs and alcohol to mask your problems. Yeah. This is something that I know a lot of guys struggle with.
Yeah.
You know, like a family member passes away, or you don't get the job interviews. And slowly you're just drinking and partying, or you're drinking and you're sleeping with women, knocking them down. Everything not to address the stuff that's happening in your life. And as men, I feel like that is a destructive trait. Yeah?
I think it's a destructive trait for, I know you want to talk about toxic masculinity in it, but it's a destructive trait that happens in both. And I think it's, you know, we got to get away from some of these weird coping mechanisms that we've had for years and years, and sometimes like just double check to see, is this actually working for me? But yeah,
because sometimes sometimes it's not. And so this is part of the conversation. And I think what I do want to say is, gentlemen who are out there, the toxic masculinity thing is not actually for women to decide. Like, men should be looking inwards in order to discover what are the worst parts about them and focusing on them. Because women know what it is to be a man outwardly, but they don't know what it's like to be a man inwardly. And so only a man can decipher what are truly his toxic traits, because we all have them.
Yeah, no. Fair.
Yeah, so what are our toxic traits and what are our best traits? And we have to work to increase our positive traits and get rid of as many toxic traits as possible. We may not achieve all of that in our lifetime, but I think that it's a worthy pursuit to do.
And something that you can only do with a partner. Let's not get twisted. Sometimes our want for a specific like female to be in our life, or somebody who has amazing characteristics to be in our lives, is what will change some of those traits, innit? So, you know, don't negate the thing. We need each other, straight up.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you thought about this episode in the comments. Like, share. If you're listening to this, just the audio version, give us a review. We ain't had no reviews since 2020 or something like that.
Oh, man.
That's 3 years ago. Listeners,
what you doing?
Yeah. Don said it the best. So, like, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers before Christmas. If we could hit any more, that would be splendiferous. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. We hope you got something out of this. My name is Sammy.
My name is Don.
And we've been the family.
Bow.
We took off our chains, shone brighter than they ever did. We jumped around in the rain, and we were in our element. Yeah, we were throwing rollies in the river, Versace in the bin. Left it for the win. Yeah, we were throwing rollies in the river, Versace in the bin. Back when we were kings. They talk about their brands like it give them power. Here's my 50 cents when in the club. I was moving shower, I was moving ghost. Most of my dons thought I was moving sour. The beat knocks like Greg, we get lost.